Hello and welcome to the Motorsports Market Dealer Pre-Licensing class. My name's Art Hebert and I'll be your instructor today because kind of looks like I'm the only one here. So anyway, let me begin this by telling you a couple things I think you're going to want to know. One is, how do I get my dealer license? And two, what are we going to do in this class today? So this is a good moment to go ahead and open up the PDF file that we sent you of our course book and scroll down to section 1, use dealer licensing requirements, because that's where we're going to begin. So go ahead and take a moment to do that. And now that we're there, let's talk about it. So how do you get your license? We begin with this class called pre-licensing. You're going to learn two things. One, I'll walk you through the process of getting the license. Two, after you get it, how do you do it? Buying and selling vehicles with a dealer license, vehicle history disclosures, safety checks, small rules you need to know about, using dealer plates, advertising rules and regulations, all that kind of stuff. At the end of the class, you'll take a test, which we also sent to you, and which probably makes no sense to you at all now if you've looked at any of the questions, but it will make a lot of sense by the time we're done with this. So anyway, you'll be taking the test at the end of the class. You'll email me the answer sheet. I will score it here at my office, and you will pass. We'll talk about that later, and I'll send your certificate to you. And once you've got your certificate in the mail, then your next step in the process is you're going to contact your local DMV inspector, and you're going to make an appointment with them to take their test, the official DMV test down at their office. Why do you have to take a second test with them? That's their way of proving this actually happened. I talked to you, you understood the material, you were able to spit it back on our practice test here today, and that you understand the material. So otherwise, I could just mail you that certificate, right? And say, woohoo, you've taken the class and passed the test. Of course, you haven't learned anything because you didn't really do it, right? Okay, so that's why they want to test you. So how do you make that test happen? All right, I've got in front of me this list of inspectors here in the state of California. There's only, I think, 16 of them at this point. So the way you find this list, go to the DMV's website. You've probably all been there. It's dmv.ca.gov. So you go to that website. All right, every page on that website, in the upper right-hand corner, there's a little search icon, right? A little magnifying glass. Click on that, type in the words inspector offices. Boom, takes you right to this list of all the inspectors. Now let's back up for a minute. Who are these inspectors? These are the people who work at DMV who are in charge of issuing dealer licenses. All right, so you need to call them, and all you do is go through that list, find the address closest to you, the address of the inspector closest to you. That'll be your inspector, and you call them up. Phone number's right there. And you do this after you get the certificate from our class. And here's how that conversation goes. Hi, I just took one of those dealer pre-licensing classes, and I guess I'm supposed to call you about setting up a test or something? And your inspector will say, yeah. Now, depending on the inspector, sometimes they have just drop-in hours, you know, every Wednesday from noon to 5, drop in. Some actually set appointments. Whatever it is, you figure it out with you and them when it works for you. All right? All you need to do to take that test is have $16, your driver's license, and the certificate you're going to get from me at the end of this class. All right? That's it. So I recommend as soon as you get that certificate, you make the phone call and you set up that test appointment. Now, things are a little bit up in the air, right? Because of this whole COVID-19 virus issue. So, what you need to do is go to that same page, the inspector list, and it'll tell you at the top whether the offices are now open or not. Currently, they're closed, but you need to keep checking in with them. And as soon as they're open, I recommend you go down there and knock this out. You want to take the test as soon as you can, right? While this is all fresh in your head. Now, you'll have a whole year from the date you complete this course and get your certificate. You'll have a whole year from the date on the certificate to actually complete the process, get your application in, get your dealer license. All right. Now, you can get this done in the next few weeks. All right. It's really up to you and how fast you want to go after this thing. But you've got up to a whole year to do this. So I don't recommend waiting on the test. So get that done right away. All right. So now at this point, we've taken the class. You've passed the test with us. You passed the test with your inspector. Oh, let's go back to the test with us. When you take the test at the end of the class, all right, you'll email me your test answer sheet. I will score it in my office. You need to score 70% or better to get the certificate from the class. If you don't score 70%, it's not a huge deal. All right, what I will do is I will email you back with the questions that you missed and the right answers for those questions. You take a few minutes to review that, make sure you understand why those answers are the right answers. A lot of times you go back and go, oh yeah, I remember that now. Or, oh, I got that confused with this or that. Excuse me. Or you can go back in your course book and look it up, right? Once you're comfortable with why those answers are the right answers, it makes sense to you, then you email me back and you say, Art, I'm ready to retest. And I'll send you a second test. I'll email it to you. Now it's a different test, different questions, but it's all on the same stuff. There's only so many ways you can ask these questions, right? So you take the second test at home, email me the answer sheet, I score it here at my office, and you pass. And I say that with a lot of confidence. Why? Since 1998, anyone that has not passed the first time, 100% have passed on the retake. You are going to pass this test. Do not stress over the test. Okay. So now at this point, step back, let's get an overview. We've now taken the class, passed the test with us, passed the test with the DMV inspector. The next step in the process is the application itself. All right, and that looks like this. Okay, where do you get this application? Same thing, we're going right back to the DMV's website. How are you gonna find it there? Okay, now's a good moment to go back to the PDF file, that course book we sent you. You should be at section 1. If you're not, go ahead and get there and then continue on. So now that you're at section 1, scroll down a little bit and it says use dealer licensing requirements underneath the photo at the auction. It'll say DMV used dealer license application forms. That's where you want to be. And let's go to number 1, the application for occupational license, and it's form number OL248U. That is this guy. Why do we care about the form number? Here's why. DMV has a bazillion forms, as you might imagine. And they have long, complicated titles that nobody remembers, right? Nobody at the DMV remembers all these titles. So DMV's got a numbering system. So every DMV form has a number in the very bottom left-hand corner. And if you're looking for a form and you know that number, it's magic, all right? All you do, go back to the DMV's website, go to that search icon in the upper right-hand corner of the page, click on it, and if you know the form number, type it in this case, OL248U, boom. Takes you right to this. This is the main set of application forms you need to get your dealer license. What you don't want to do is go to the DMV's website, click on that search icon and type in search words like use dealer license application or use motor vehicle dealer license application and click search. You do that, you're going to get probably links to 300 pages. Totally confusing. But this case, we know the number we want, OL248U, type it in there, boom, takes you right to that, the main application. Number 2, in your book here is the used dealer, dealer wholesale only, and auto broker application checklist, OL248B, and that is this guy. This is DMV's checklist that they put together of the main things you need to complete to get your dealer license. So not only is it helpful, it's mandatory. You're gonna have to go through this checklist, check all these boxes saying you've done all these things, all right? Because you're gonna hand this in with your application when you're done. All right, so it's good, it's helpful, keeps you organized. It is lacking. It's not, the be all and end all. It doesn't tell you where to go for each step, how to do each step, how much it costs. I'll get to that in a moment. But it is helpful. Also, you do everything on the checklist. You're going to fail and not get your dealer license. Don't worry about that. I'll fill that stuff in as we go through the course. But you do need to do this. Things on this checklist, like get a location that qualifies for a dealer license, get a seller's permit, get a dealer bond, get a live scan fingerprint, all the stuff we're going to talk about in the course today. All right. So when you're done, you now have a complete checklist saying you've done all these steps. We now have the complete application, these two things. And then you're going to write a check payable to DMV for the application fees. That's currently $175 for the application, plus a mandatory $1 family support fee, so it's really $176, plus your dealer plate fees. And we got a whole section coming up later on dealer plates. The fees are currently $87 per plate, and each plate has a county plate fee. And you can find that just by doing a Google search, California dealer county plate fees. It's just a list of every county in the state of California and what the plate fees are. And it's not a complicated list. I have it right here. And anyway, you just go through this list, find your county, which right now I'm talking to you from Marin County. And so the Marin County plate fee is $21. So $21 for the county plate fee in my case, plus the $87 for the plate. So that's what, $108? So our dealer plates are going to cost us $108. Now these county plate fees vary generally between like 10 and 20 bucks. So that'll give you a ballpark. So you need to find your county plate fee, add it to however many plates you want. And that's another theme for me in this class. I always focus on what's the cheapest, easiest way into getting your dealer license. You could always go bigger and spend more money, right? Cheapest, easiest way in, start with a single dealer plate. So in my case, it's $108 plus my $175, $176 for the application fee and family support fee. So somewhere around just a little under $300, you're going to be writing a check for your application fee. Then you're going to take the application, the checklist, and your check, right? And now they're complete. You turn it into your inspector for approval. When you do that, you and your inspector will set an inspection date. It's usually going to be 2 to 3 weeks out after you turn the application in because your inspector needs time to review it, go through it, make sure everything's okay. If it's not, they're going to contact you and tell you what you need to fix. But let's assume everything's okay. They're just going to show up on the day of the inspection. And again, it's not a surprise. You guys have agreed to the date. So when they show up with a single-page checklist. And at that moment, they're really there just to verify you actually did everything you claimed you did in your application. All the photos you submitted of your place actually are of your place, right? So they walk around with their little checklist and they go, yep, you got that, you did that. Oh, that looks cool, I like that, Oh, wow, never seen that done before, I like that, Less than 5 minutes later, they're done. They sign a temporary license and hand it to you. You are in business. The official license will come in the mail. Oh, it's usually about a month later. And most dealers put it in a little picture frame, put it on the wall. So because your licenses go on the wall, we'll talk about that later. You're done. That's it. So that in a nutshell is how you get your dealer license. Take the class, pass the test with us, pass the test with your inspector, complete your application and checklist, turn this into your inspector, have your 5-minute inspection, get your dealer license. That's it in a nutshell. All I'm going to do today is break it down into all the little subparts, stitch it all together with you, and then mostly later in the second part of the class, we'll talk about now that you got the license, let's do some business, right? And I'll take you through the transactions. And that's how you get your dealer license.